Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to G2E, and welcome to Upleveling Your Table Game Casino Operations Train to Win. My name is Desiree Vincent. I'm the Vice President of Product Development at Wiser here in Las Vegas. Is this sound all right? Okay. And I am your moderator today, and I'm over the moon to be joined with two experts in the industry. Matt Malore, my friend, my colleague. Matt has over 25 years of gaming experience in training and gaming. And we're really excited to have him here today. He's also our VP of Gaming Operations at Wiser. And Bill Zender, the man who truly needs no introduction. He is a legend in gaming protection, consultant, author, professor, the list goes on, and great storyteller. Most excitingly, he is our new partner at Wiser. So let's get started today and start talking about table games. Table games are the heart of the casino. I think about that growing up here. I'm a native Las Vegan, and what you remember is walking into the casinos and the excitement of a roulette game or craps, blackjack and the skills. And with that comes some struggles and some pain points for casino operators. So we want to discuss that today. We want to discuss some of those challenges, find some solutions for you all, and really give you some actionable takeaways today. Let's get started.
Are we talking about the pain points yet?
We are, Bill.
Okay, very good. What I want to do is, I come from two different fields here. Actually for a long time I was an operator. And now, as a lot of you know, I do a lot of training in the field. I do mostly game protection. And there's certain areas where I see people that have a hard time with training. And of course, what Des calls as pain points, and I have to agree with her, they're pain points. And one of the most, I think, one of the painful ones is training inconsistency. Now, some of you have a trainer. Let's say your table games, you have your own trainer. Some of you don't. Some of you have a part-time trainer. Or what you do is you find the best dealer, the best floor supervisor, and you make them your trainer. Then that works good on the floor. But what about the training up in surveillance? Because you all go hand in hand. So there's a lot of inconsistencies there just because of the fact that the different people that are doing this. Earlier this year, I had a VP of Casino Operations get a hold of me. And he just opened up a casino. And the casino, he says, just getting the doors open, getting people scheduled, getting the games open and going was tough. He said, but after 2 months, because we finally got everything going, it was going fairly smoothly, because I started to walk around the casino, and I couldn't believe how many different people did different procedures. Because what they did was they hired experienced dealers from different casinos. So not everybody was on the same page. And he's struggling. He was saying, he came to me and he said, do you do this? And at the time, no. I said, the only thing I'm doing is game protection training right now. But that's one of the problems. That was his nightmare at the time. Another thing is we have procedural variations. And one thing about procedural variations is that there's all kinds of different things you can do. And that first story I told you actually shows you what can happen. But there's so many different procedures for different games. Your alternative games. I've actually had someone say, I've got 3-card poker on the floor, I want to put an Ultimate Texas Hold'em in. But the thing is, they thought it was like basically the same game. It's not. You've got a lot of different things you have to overcome. 3-card poker, you have 1 betting round. Ultimate Texas Hold'em, you have 3. So there's another pain point. Now, this next one I'm going to talk about is something that affects me, is scheduling. Now, I do a lot of game protection. Right? And now what I'll do is I'll go in for a couple of days. I'll do 2 classes a day. There's a lot of you here I've done work for before. But I go in there, and one of the biggest heartaches for the people is getting everyone in there for their training. Now, let me put it this way. You got day shift, swing shift. Guess what happens to graveyard? Graveyard always gets screwed. Those guys are always, I know when there's graveyard people in my class because they're falling asleep, right? So what you've got to bring people in, and what happens if they're on vacation? They just don't get the training. So what you're looking for is something that you can use as a training tool that you can get everybody involved in, and you don't have to really worry about scheduling. The last one I want to talk about is game variations. Now, I'm not even going to talk about your alternative games. I've already said something like that. Let's just talk about your majority game. Your majority game in the casino is what? Blackjack. Some of you have single deck. Some of you have double deck. My friends down in Tucson, Arizona have 3 decks. Some people have 4 decks. Some people have 6 and 8 decks. Some people hit all 17. Some people stand on all 17s. Some casinos have both. You have double after split. Double after split, when you're splitting, makes a big difference. If no doubling after split. And you've got surrender. So what you're looking for is something that can actually pull all of that together. You can do the training you want that's custom made for what you want to do. So once we get into solutions, we'll talk about that. But that's some of the pain points that the people are going through right now.
Thank you, Bill. Matt, from your on-site property experience at various casinos, give us your perspective on this. How did it affect the casino floor, dealers, supervisors, casino operations as a whole?
Well, I think the challenge is to overcome obstacles first, right? Because you want to have meaningful, results-driven training. That's the goal. And like Bill, just touched on a little bit, the scheduling, that's a hurdle for all of us. Do I do my training before the ship? Do I do it after the ship? Do I do it during the ship? Right? And that presents their own obstacles and challenges as well. Do I inconvenience my team and have them come in before or after the shift? Right? We have to make that decision. That, for one, costs money, right? It costs later. And the results aren't as consistent because most of your team, when they're going through that training, they're not focused. They're inconvenienced. They had to come in before their shift. And then the second choice is do it during the shift. And again, you have to make a decision whether you're going to shut down a pit, not open games. So this in return costs you revenue, right? So you're stuck with these decisions. You're stuck making these choices. So having a platform that accomplishes this without having to inconvenience your team, I think there's a ton of value in that. One other hurdle you have is if you have your team members that are on PTO, they call in sick during training, so you don't have that opportunity to train them, and they come back in after that time off. And I think, in my experience, that training just doesn't happen after that.
Thanks, Matt. Daily inconsistencies that ripple throughout the shifts is something we should be thinking about, and it can affect service and efficiency as well. So thank you for that.
And if I could just add on to that,
Sure.
You have a higher employee retention as well. You invest in your team, they invest in you. So that should always, to me, in my opinion, should be a consideration.
Absolutely. Now that we've explored a lot of challenges, like we said, we're going to start to explore some solutions for you all. Bill, I want to start with you again. Let's explore solutions. You've long championed training. You still train to this day all over the place, all over the country, and you champion training that sticks. You see the value in using this that you just mentioned, like using e-learning, on-demand training, customized training. Can you tell me, in your point of view or your perspective, why modernized learning like e-learning, blended learning is so critical for casino operations?
It's funny is that she used the term blended learning. And I was kind of confused, so I look it up. You know what blended learning really means? And you'll hear it more and more when we talk about e-training. Blended means that you're using different types of training methods. One, you're trying to have flexibility. Two, you're trying to come up with diverse learning styles. Not everybody learns the same way. What you're doing is you're looking for engagement. You're looking to get people engaged. You want to enhance that. You know, and if anybody else, if you've got you got a group of people on the table and you're training them, you only have a few people that are actually asking questions. You want to get everybody involved. And here's the one thing that I think is probably the biggest proponent of online training is you get immediate feedback. You know exactly what the people know, and I'll go through that a little bit with you. So let's just talk about in-house training. Everybody we have right now probably all have in-house training, okay? And the thing about it is valuable. But one thing about it is not flexible. We talked about that, especially with scheduling. It's not scalable. Now, what do I mean by scalable? So you want to put in a new, let's say a side bet. You've got 75 dealers to train, right? How are you going to do that? It's going to take you a while, right? So that's a problem. And again, as I said before, it can be inconsistent. If you have one trainer, maybe you have some consistency. But if you have to train a lot of people, you have 2 or 3 trainers, you're going to run into that inconsistency, kind of like playing the game of telephone. You say one person something and the next person. So we're trying to figure out how we can get around that. And here's the thing on online training. You cut me off there?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So we talk about online table game training, okay? It enhances the consistent message. You've got online training, it's the same material. You can actually, you take it, you put it in the cloud folder, your people go ahead and they click on a link and they take it, and everybody gets the same consistent message. It's also measurable. And measurable means that you get tested on it. And I'm going to go through that a little bit later when we talk about data, about how that's done. Somebody said to me, what about online game protection? Well, right now, let's just talk about table games and side bets and the rest of it. But we can also integrate game protection. And I'll give you an example. 3-card poker. Everybody has 3-card poker, right? So the dealer comes out of the well with the cards. If Matt's training, because Matt says, well, he put his hand there to cover it, but nobody does that anymore. So you pull the cards out, you put them down in front of you. That's what you say, bring them on the table, move them over. That's a dealer's hand, okay? But what happens? So they inadvertently flash one of the cards. No big deal, right? These are carny games. You'll hear me call them alternative games because I think people need to take the game seriously. Most of your professional advantage players have moved out of blackjack and moved in the alternative games. So let's go back to this example. If I see one card, I'm on the table, I see one card consistently, one card, that's 1/3 of the dealer's hand, I'm actually playing with a 3% advantage. 3%. You guys worry about professional level card counters? They're looking at 1% advantage. So what we can do when you put this training class together for 3-card poker, you have a section, a lesson section in there that goes into this, and it explains it in detail and advises the dealers why they shouldn't expose it. And you might not tell them the exact percentage, but you tell them this is a big game protection risk. So you can pinpoint things like that and actually put them into the lesson and take care of that. I want to do the one thing on an example on a side bet. I don't know if you've been in this position, but a good casino operator, a good table games person, keeps track of the utilization of side bets in blackjack. So what you do is I get the ABC side bet on my table. So every couple months I do a utilization. Utilization means what percentage of the people betting on the main game are betting on the side bet. So I do it, I spot check all 3 shifts, and I find out it's 25%, utilization is 25. That's real good. So I'm happy with that. 2 months later, I do another spot check. Now it's 15%. That's still acceptable. A couple months later, I'm down to 8%. And that means that I'm running a chance that side bet is burning itself out, and I need to change it. Of course, it could be that the dealers aren't promoting it, but that's one of the things you can do. You can actually, if you get in with the Wiser program, you can say, let me have one of those classes on promoting side bets. But let's say that's not it. Let's say it's burn itself out. So you have to look for a new side bet. So you got the XYZ side bet. But you know what people are? They're reluctant to change. Why? Because they have to train all their dealers. So you've got, again, you got 50, 75 dealers you have to train. That's not scalable to do it with an individual trainer. So what you can do is you get a little wiser. You say, do me a favor, give me the side bet. Can you put it in my cloud portfolio? You do that, and now you send the link to all those dealers, and they learn. And of course, you're going to test and make sure that they know it. You can put that new side bet in, and you can get immediate increase in revenue. You don't have to wait around for months hoping that it will get better. So I just wanted to give you guys one idea how you can do this and how it's beneficial.
Thank you so much, Bill. It seems like it saves costs for the casinos, and I think the players will feel that ultimately too if everyone's working on this together. Matt, with your experience and with training at the various casino properties, and you've used some e-learning platforms. I know you've mentioned that to me, that you used a couple different ones. How have you seen this impact dealer performance and operations?
I have a question for all of you first. Can I just get a raise of hands who's in table gaze? And same hands up who used any kind of e-learning platform? Okay, so not many, because I don't believe that they exist. I believe Wiser's the first. We started this. I have used other platforms for training, and the question that I constantly ask myself is, why doesn't the training work? Right? That's what we have to ask ourselves for anything we're doing, but especially with an e-learning platform. And what I've run into is the systems that I've used. You know, they're not easy to navigate. You have to have a system that's easy to navigate so that it's effective for your team. You can't have a rigid platform. And what's good that you've actually mentioned, Bill, is that this lives in a cloud. So you don't have the IT hurdle that's staying on a server. And we all know that when we're trying to set up training, that's one of the biggest hurdles to get over is the IT hurdle, and I get it. One thing I like about this, and just to answer your question, is having a platform where you can assign to your team, let's say free bet. Let's say I'm a high limit dealer and all I'm dealing blackjack, board roulette, and you're starting to switch things up, and you're going to put me on free bet. As a dealer, I could feel confident. I can go online, take that course, and take that refresher without you even assigning it to it. Because you can assign it to the individual, to groups. You can do it annually, biannually. The system is amazing with just the value just in that itself, just when it comes to the training.
Thank you, Matt. And thanks everyone for answering that question. So it seems like there's a common thread that we're talking about, and it's inconsistencies, inefficiencies, inconsistencies with like processes and procedures. Bill, can you talk to us a little bit about how consistent procedures? You mentioned this a little earlier. I thought if you could just share a few more thoughts on that.
To talk about game procedures, well, there's two reasons we have procedures. First of all, it cuts chaos. You know, we deal blackjack, we could deal from left going to right. The cards we pay take going from right to left. If you didn't have a procedure like that, boy, look at the chaos that you'd be in. Can you imagine craps if you didn't have the procedures? Second thing that the procedures are for is they're battle-born. And when I say battle-born, it's because we got beat somehow at one time, and we didn't want that to happen again. So what we did is we put in a procedure for it. And Des was asking me, give me an example. I says, well, if the players pick up the cards, whether it's a pitch blackjack game or alternative game, and they pick them up with two hands, what does the dealer do? What's the dealer supposed to do? It's supposed to stop them. Say, pick the cards up with one hand, okay? Now, you know what that does? It diminishes the possibility the cards could get marked or the cards could be switched. Now, it doesn't eliminate that. This diminishes that. So that's the other reason we have procedures. One of the things is when your procedures are all uniform, if they're all the same, it makes it easy for your staff. It makes it easy for Flora to watch the game. It makes it even, I'm pointing over to Maria over there because she's in surveillance. It even makes it better for surveillance because everybody's on the same page. And if you see some deviation from the procedure, automatically alert you. Doesn't mean something is definitely wrong, but it means that there's a high possibility there is. When I do these game protection classes, one of the things that everybody asks me is, do you do the classes for the dealers also? And no, I don't. I do them for dual rates because they work on the floor. I do it for floor supervisors, floor management, for surveillance management. Any regulatory person who wants to go in, anybody in compliance wants to go in, okay? I don't do it for dealers. You know why? Dealers they are our first line of defense. What I want my dealers to do is follow the procedures. So if you have them doing the procedures and following procedures, you have a very safe property just from that alone.
And these procedures could be part of the customization that you guys are talking about in training. Matt?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, fully customizable to your SOPs, your ICs, whether you require a picture or a video procedure, this platform covers all of it.
So when everyone's following the consistent procedures, errors drop, I'm assuming, performance improves. That's a good thing for everyone. Matt, let's shift gears and talk about accountability and measuring the impact of training. You've worked with the platforms, like we talked about, a couple of those platforms, not necessarily for D-League training, but for training at the casinos. And they provided reporting and training data. How does having access to this kind of data change the game for operators?
With Wiser's platform, we have two pieces. We have the refresher course, and then we also have an audit piece, which I am a huge proponent of, because we have to quantify our results of our training. And the only way to quantify is to watch your team, whether it's your dealer or your supervisors, to measure those results. So with the audit piece, you can do a hands per hour audit on your team, do the refresher course, and then do another audit. And now you can actually quantify your results. And what we notice by auditing in this manner is we see increased decisions per hour, increased hands per hour, right? Which equates to revenue, and that's really a goal. And second to that is the guest experience. If we're able to audit our dealers and our supervisors, they're providing that higher end guest service and their experience all around. So it's a win-win.
Great, thank you. You have another point, Matt?
I'd like to say, one of my colleagues shared this with me, is we all just want the easy button, right? If training was that easy, we could hit that easy button and it's a solve all. And this is, I like to say this accomplishes the things. So when it comes to training, they're already a difficult decision on how you're going to address it. There's all the hurdles, the challenges within that training. Having an easy button that solves all that, I don't know about you guys, but I'm happy with that.
Simplifies it for sure, Matt. Bill, how can casino operators use this data to improve training and enhance game protection?
Well, I'm kind of weak in the data transfer part. But one thing I like about this is that you know what your people know because you've got testing at the very end of the program. Now, I'm going to go into it a little bit more how we put this together. These two guys are whizzes putting this together, and I'm actually trying to catch up with them right now. But So you put together a program, it comes in these little learning sections, and they're lessons, we call them lessons. At the end of a lesson is a knowledge check. And the knowledge check does two things. One, it reinforces the information the person just went through. And at the same time, it tells them whether they learned it or not. There's also a link. If they don't feel that they got it, they can click the link and go right back to the beginning of that lesson. They don't have to do the whole program, just do that lesson. Now that's not, they don't keep scoring that one. But at the very end, you got the end of course assessment. And the end of course assessment is something where they're tested, and there's a pass-fail on that. The pass-fail can be 70% of the questions right, 80%, 90%, or 100%. And Matt and I I'm going to use the basic strategy program that we just, about a couple months ago, or a month ago, we put it in the can. And so the thing about it is that what I said to Matt, I says, what do you think that the pass-fail should be? And he said 100%. And I said 100%. And I says, well, he says, we want everybody to know basic strategy solid. Why do you need to know basic strategy? Well, you need to know it. If you don't know basic strategy in blackjack, you don't know what good blackjack is. If you don't know what good blackjack is, how can you spot bad blackjack? And I'm surprised at the number of places where the people have an understanding of it, but they don't really know it well, okay? But I'm against 100%. I think it should be like 80 because some people have a hard time taking tests. And after they've taken the class a couple of times, the course a couple of times, they get a little, despondent over it. So basically, I figured we'd give them a little wiggle room. But we're going to leave that up to management. Whatever you guys want it to be, you want it 100%, it's 100%. You want it 80%, it's 80% on that. Let me tell you how the course goes together. So this is on the basic strategy. You have the introduction. And then you have what we did is a pre-course assessment. That was Des came up with that idea. So I took 4 questions, basic strategy questions. I put them in the very beginning. And if I did any training for you, I probably did those 4 questions for your people. There's one question on hit stand, one on hard doubling, soft doubling, and also on pair splitting. I can tell if you get those right whether you know basic strategy or not. But that's for self-assessment. So that's the people know whether they got it right or not. They know it. So then we go through, I believe there's 10 lessons in it. We do an introduction, or not an introduction, we do we talk about the importance, talk a little bit about the numbers. Then we go into 12 through 17, hit stand, then we go into hard doubling, then we go into soft doubling. Then at the end of each one is a knowledge check. Then we go into pair splitting. Now, if you've got double after split, it's different from regular pair splitting. Then if you have surrender, we put surrender in. See, as Matt said earlier, we kind of tailor it for what you want, for your operation. And at the very end is the course assessment, final course assessment. I got one for you. Of your people, how many do you think are going to fail the basic strategy exam the first time? Now, here's the problem. Most of your people fail. You know why? Even going through the course, because they think they know basic strategy. So they go, okay, click, 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 click through all the different lessons, and they get to the back, and they take the test, and they fail it. Now, when they go through it a second time, they pay attention. So even when we're doing the assessment, this is what's going to happen. What does it measure and who learns the information? One of them is training or HR, whatever, if your training comes out of HR. Training, why? Because if somebody does not pass the test after they've taken the course a couple times, maybe they need a little hands-on training, a little face-to-face training. So instead of doing a face-to-face with 75 people, you're only doing it with 4 or 5, the ones that don't get it. Your floor management, you find out what your floor supervisors did. Did they pass or did they fail? If they failed, they need to pass it. Same with surveillance. Surveillance sees what their people do. So basically what you do is we get right down to the bottom of it. You know what your people know.
Excellent insight and powerful statement there, Mr. Zender. Data-driven, results-driven training, simplified modern training. Nah, easy button. Those are the takeaways on that one. Thank you. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask Bill if you could give everyone in this audience some actionable takeaways. Surveillance, casino operators, dealers, one piece of advice, how to up-level their table games. So how do they train to win? And
One piece of advice?
yeah, or two.
I think it's seriously look into online training. And of course, when I say online training, I mean Wiser. I think that this is a wonderful product I think you'll all be happy with. Online training is a very, very simple way to keep everybody on the same page. It's a very, very simple way to get all your people trained quickly. It's something that you can do, it's on demand. Here's the thing is that you develop confidence in your staff because you've got measurable, you know who passed the test. So you got measurable results, all right? And do we have time? Yeah, we have time. Let me give you a real world example, all right? I went into Stanford Wong's current Blackjack News. I looked at all the casinos here in Las Vegas. Now that's the ones that can be card countable, because that's the only ones he's going to report on. Like there's 266 deck games. So I looked at the shuffle point, because he's got it down there. 75% of those 6-deck games are dealing out 75%, or they're cutting off a deck and a half, dealing out 4.5 decks. Now it's a known fact that the deeper you deal into the shoe, the more decisions you get. Actually, the more hands you deal out. The more hands you deal out, the more decisions you get. The more decisions you get, the more revenue potential you have. So the question is, why only 75%? Why is 75% cutting off a deck and a half? Why aren't they cutting off only a deck? You know why? Card counting. They're all afraid of card counters. Now, in my earlier life, I played at a professional level. I counted cards at a professional level. And I'm going to tell you something, it's really, really tough to do. And the professional scrapes and bites and through his betting patterns, tries to get a 1% edge. So it's not a big deal. And there's not really a lot of professional level card counters. But everybody has a concern, all the way from your shift managers on up. So let's say that you sign up with Wiser. And so we've got, right now we're going to have a course on basic strategy and one on how to count cards. And basically it's just how to count the plus minus count. Then we've got one we're working on that's almost in the can on the mechanics of card counting. And Des refers to it as beans in the jar. Because what I do is I relate to beans in the jar and how the count, the theory behind card counting, it makes it really clear. Shows you that it's not really something that's a lock.
I'm starting to understand it, so.
And now she wants to learn how to count cards. But anyway, after that, the next program would be the bet spread requirements. So you have to know what the bet spread requirements are to make that 1%. So you take that course. Then the next course is how to detect card counters. And mostly it's for floor, but it's also can be used in surveillance. Then in the last one we'll have is confirming that a person's card counting. And I know Blackjack Survey and Bloodhound and ProTech and all those other ones do a nice job. But there's a very simple way, and that's just comparing the value of the cards in the deck so they're betting. So let's say you put those in there. Your people pass this course, this course, this course, this course, this course. So now you have confidence that they know what they're doing. What's stopping you from moving that back to that one deck cut point? And look at how much more revenue you can make. I did some numbers on that. If you move the cut card back 1/2 of a deck, you got a small casino. Small casino make $100,000 more a year. That goes directly to the bottom line. If you get a medium-sized casino, you're going to make about $500,000, $500,000 more. by doing it. God only knows for some larger places what they could actually do. So the training gives you the ability to have confidence in your people to be able to do the right thing, to make more revenue. There's another thing, is that when you offer training to people, it adds a degree of professionalism to their lives. They know working for your casino that you're going to train them. What it helps is in employee retention, because if they know that you're going to train them, they're not going to make a move to another casino on the same level. They'll move up. They might make a big jump, but you're not going to lose them. They're going to stay with you because they know that you're going to train them and they're proud to work for you.
Thank you so much, Bill. Matt, over to you. Can you give a piece of advice?
Sure. So I wrote this one down. So to up-level your table games operations, you need to simplify solutions because most solutions are complicated. So leverage the Wiser platform, train often, and train consistently.
Mic drop. Go ahead, Bill.
I just want to say one more thing, is that this is online training. It's on demand, increases engagement, engagement. Anytime you put a video screen in front of someone now, they look at it. It increases comprehension, increases their retention and knowledge, and it's measurable. I can't see any other choice, really, to tell you the truth.
And because of the customization of it, it's modern. So if you want it to be a micro course or longer, that's where that tailored courseware would come in. So it's really up to any of you for surveillance or for casino operators too. Thank you, everybody. We want to ask some questions. Yes, come up to the microphone.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Don't make it difficult for us.
Well, that'll be Bennett.
I actually had two questions for you. So, Bill, I've known you to always do table games protection. How did you get started in this company? And is there any significance in the name Wiser?
I'm gonna let him answer the Wiser question, but I'm gonna answer yours, and that's a good question. Is that I've always wanted to do this, and I don't know if anybody remembers, but during COVID, I actually put together some Zoom classes. And I started out doing basic strategy, and then we did blackjack and card counting. We did baccarat. I even did a session on Pygar tiles. But I did not have the platform or the know-how or the software to do this. So when my buddy Bob Subcheck back there got a hold of me and said, hey, Zender, how would you like to get involved? And I said, great, sign me up. One of the things, I want to say something else on that one, but one of the things about this is these guys made a big mistake. You know why? They told me that I have to certify the table games lessons or they don't go out to anybody, right? So I'm going to make sure that they're done correctly. Another thing is that all the different classes that we do release are going to be work in progress. And once we get the full spectrum of table games and side bets out, then we're going to go back and see if we can improve them, what we can do. They've also guaranteed that we can go into game protection. And one of the things about right now, we're talking about the basic strategy and the card counting, rest of this. But we want to go into game protection. Eventually, we'll see how this works. I do the live training. I might go ahead and do it for Wiser. So we might go through that. So if you're in the portfolio, if you're a client of Wiser's, then you could arrange where I would come out and do some training. We haven't talked about that. I shouldn't even say anything, right? I also would like to get to a point where we could do analysis for you. If you have someone really beating you up pretty bad, we could look at it for you. I'm doing that as an individual right now, but we could probably do it through Wiser. So the thing is, I just want to say, I'm glad you brought this up. To me, the sky's the limit on this. And we're just starting. You want to do the wiser?
The wiser.
Wiser, well, some of us that are here in the audience, maybe they should answer too. Rob, you could always come up to the mic. But we both thought about learning as lifelong learning. You're always getting smarter and better and faster and wiser. So wiser you, wiser all of us. Wisdom.
What you should remember.
Well, there you go, there.
Cool.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Maria.
ETGs of craps. There's a phenomenon the last year where these installations go into a casino. They don't get the yield that they thought they would. And I'm not sure if it's a matter of training that is typically the problem is game perfection, depending on the system. How do you manage the training of a platform such as electronic cable for craps to make sure it's well protected?
I guess that's a jump ball, but I'll get it.
You get it.
Here's the thing. You use the platform, use Wiser platform to make sure that all your dealers are dealing the game the correct way, okay? Everybody's on the same page. We actually talked, and I'll get to what you're gonna say. I actually talked about, let's do this. Let's have another course that we can throw in your folder on how to promote from the stick. Because I go down, I do table games analysis all the time, and I cannot believe how mute the stickmen are. I mean, they don't push anything anymore, right? I mean, I was taught by a bunch of hustlers, so we pushed everything. So that's the basics, okay? So now, I'm gonna give you a secret. There's only really two ways to beat the game of craps. One is to control the dice. Number two is to work with a dealer. I mean, there's really nothing, there's no science here. There's no offsetting betting. There's no betting pattern that's gonna overcome the game. One of the things you have to remember is that no betting system is gonna ever overcome a negative expectation game, okay? So your house is always like, I was talking to someone about offsetting who was it? Anyway, I was offsetting like 100 on the don't and 100 on the do. All it does is hold your volatility down. So that's not, you still get the house advantage from both sides. So let's say we go a little bit further along in there, that we could actually analyze, and I can tell you basically volatility. You've got someone betting, I see a lot of volatility, you get 10 times odds, you're gonna have a lot of volatility games. So I'm getting a little too far out here, but I'm just trying to cover what you're talking about. So there is ways of doing it. Did I answer it okay? Okay.
Yeah, and I just to add on to that, Bill, I think when it comes to the ETGs, I think a lot of that is the team member buying in, right? So we happen to have training for that as well. I've been at properties where the ETGs were not performing, and I got to the pit early, and I just kind of started upselling it when guests would come to the pit and it was closed. They're like, hey, when is this going to open? I'm like, this is going to open in an hour, but let me show you these ETGs. Let me show you how easy these are to use. And just to break down that fear of trying something new, right? They still are kind of intimidating, right? Just like table games are intimidating. I think what we're seeing is a younger generation is starting playing with their ETGs and then moving on to table games, actually playing a little bit of both. But you have to have buy-in from your team. If you don't have buy-in, they're not going to sell themselves. Was that kind of what you were asking?
I think who else
Did you
had
have a question? Can you use the microphone for us, please? Thank you.
I'm a table game manager from a small property, and last year I emailed Bill and I asked him, I went to his training, I was like, I recognized he was one of the very few that really gave training specifically, talk about managing small properties because they're different. They're different than apartments. And so I wanted him to come train, and he says, you're a small property, probably can't afford his training, and I was brokenhearted, no. Because I recognize that that training is exactly what you needed. So I came simply because I want to see why you're, and I'm finding out about this. And I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm just going to ask you now because I came to see you. So is it all the same for the small properties, the pricing of it, and just like they say, you do all the same procedure because of the card counters, because of that, and you leave money on the table when you do that. So I'm saying, I don't want it to be priced out where the small properties can, is then you're leaving money on the table.
We would absolutely work with you for sure. So we'll talk afterwards. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
I've got a horrible past. I will be probably, you know, probably hear me. I just say it.
No, you're better off not using it.
I have on license pass of opening up a new casino. Within that framework, I have nobody really qualified in cable games. It's a new, very new market. You can hear me.
There we go.
Oh, can you hear me? Very good. Anyway, it works. I have to train enough people to cover 44 tables. Basically, it's going to be blackjack, some carnival games, craps, and you know, the whole 9 yards. So my question is, how long would that take you? Just an estimate. And I'm sure that if you're a consultant, they'll be calling you.
Okay, so you're talking about training people from scratch, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not for training people how to deal. That's not the basics. I have a friend of mine that had PCI dealing school in town. Matter of fact, I opened it with him back in '87. And so about, I don't know, 10 years ago, he decided to go online and do some online training. And this is dealing school people, that's it. And he said it was a failure. He can't do it because there's too much. You have to teach them to cut checks. You have to teach them to shuffle. You have to teach them to pitch. I don't care if they're dealing out of the shoe, right? You still have to teach all that characteristics. And I'm telling you right now, you can't do it. What this is for is training people that already know those skills. So if you're looking to get people from the very, very beginning, starting, you're going to need your own in-house trainers.
I have I got 6 casinos already. So I do have some people who are trained here, but what I'm going into a new market area.
Well, I say we have a
That's where
conversation.
What I have planned is to use what I have and train the other ones that are coming in new.
Well, I think what's good about our course is if you already have dealers that are proficient and you just need them to brush up or learn new SOPs or ICs, that's where our courses will be good for. Because it's for a seasoned deal. It's just to make them more efficient, more productive.
Well, I see your name, but they'll give you a call.
And we're actually here at G2E all week. We're in booth 2614. So you can come by and visit us too and come talk to us.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, we'll come and talk to you.
I've got a pretty good system in place, but I'm going to, very.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you offer your courses in Spanish?
Yes.
Go see him.
I'm sorry, what was that?
This is my Spanish. You
I said
translate?
yes. I said
Oh,
yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does it include poker?
Yes, we have poker as well.
So are you asking about your Hold'em, and so we're currently working on that for us as well.
I was talking 3-card.
Yeah, well, thinking a 3-card and Caribbean Stuck. So our library is going to have every game, every course.
No, were you talking about parlor poker? Yes, okay.
we will have that as well.
Eventually, and I'll tell you what, we're going to be probably doing polygon tiles because there's a real need for that. If you're in surveillance and you have polygon tiles on your floor, that's got to be scary because most people have no clue. And I actually put together 2 classes, my Zoom classes. The first one went through the rankings and the procedures, and the feedback I got from that course when I was doing the Zoom was just incredible. And then I did, after they took that, then I had one on game protection. And so there's a lot of things we can do. A lot of things we can do.
I think we have time for one more question. I saw you. Can you pass them?
One of my clients is in Macau, large company, could very much use your services. Do you go abroad as well? And what languages, in addition to Spanish, do you work in?
Well, we would love to go abroad for sure, and we would definitely look into the other languages, which we can do. We can. Actually, one of the authoring platforms we use does have Cantonese, Mandarin, lots of different languages, almost like a list of languages that we can use. We're actually going abroad soon too. Hopefully soon. So we would love to talk. Thank you all. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Can I add one more?
Go ahead, man.
And just so you know, we have 270 courses. So this is a one-stop shop, I'll call it, because you can do your compliance, which is nice. That's great to have. As you refresh your courses, you can do all of your compliance courses, and that's all trackable, and there's one place on that cloud.
We customize the compliance as well because many of the properties might have different ICs and things like that. So we'll work with you on that as well. I know we have run out of time, and I wanted to thank everyone. If you have one more thing to say, Bill.
I just want to say one more thing. If you have any questions, we're on the exhibition floor. We're in 2614. Feel free to come by, and the 3 of us will be there all week, okay?
Yeah, we're going to stick around a little bit longer as well.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. We hope to talk to you soon.